Hello everyone, and welcome to this edition of Cooking with Aimee. It is Wednesday, and it is one of those days where the weather is just turning. Kids are home from university at our house. There's some amazing things. Spring is coming, it feels great, and it's a good time to clean out the freezer. So I have an entire container, which doesn't look too appealing, but I take the dead bananas. It looks better this way. So when my bananas start to look like this, I just peel them and I put them in the container, and then I toss them into the freezer. And when I need to use something, that's what I do. So I've got a couple more. So today is baking with bananas, okay? And all of us have the staple banana bread, banana muffins, all of those things, pancakes, anything that we like to do with the bananas that have gone on to the other side. But today I'm actually going to be making a brownie recipe. Now, I do have a vegan daughter. She is currently here, but this recipe actually fell in the chocolate. I can use the dead bananas, and it's vegan. I think you guys will really, really like it. It's some pretty staple, easy recipe, pretty staple, easy ingredients, I should say, that most of you have in your house. And if you don't have all of them in your house, you can substitute. You can hear that the dogs didn't want to be on the live today. There's so much going on in the yard, so here we are. Okay, so this is actually called a chocolate banana peanut butter brownie. We have two different ways that we can make a brownie. So we have my standard brownie pan. Those of you who have been here for a while know how much I adore my brownie pan. I do way more with my brownie pan than just make brownies. I make mini meatloaves, I make eggs, I make mini lasagnas, I make something called square potatoes, so I take leftover mashed potatoes, I re-whip them, I add hell of a good dip and some bacon and cheese to them, and I put them in my brownie pan, and we make like a double baked potato, but Kira calls them square potatoes. And then we also have the mini version, which is amazing because they're teeny tiny and they're so cute. And then you don't feel so guilty when you might pound a few extra back. So two different ways that we can make brownies today in the two different pans. All of our pans are non-stick, and therefore they don't have to be sprayed. I will spray. It's never a dull moment here, let me tell you. I will be spraying my regular brownie pan because it is an older pan, and it is more than 3 years old, and I have used and abused this also. Sorry folks. Okay, so the very first thing we're going to do is I have taken 3/4 of a cup of dates, and I have put them into some warm water. Because this is vegan, it's eggless, so I'm taking 2 tablespoons of flaxseed, and again, pretty basic things that we would have, and I am putting 6 tablespoons of water into my flax. So that's a really cool, easy way for an egg substitute. So for those of you who even sometimes might be out of eggs, and if you have flax in the house, 1 tablespoon of flax to 3 tablespoons of water is an egg. Okay, so I'm going to put 6 tablespoons of warm water in the flax, and then we're going to let this sit. Okay? So I've just got it in my 2-cup prep bowls, just gonna let that sit. We are going to drain the water from the dates, and then we're gonna add them to our blender, okay? So I have my Pampered blender. If you don't have the Pampered blender, we know that's fine. The joys of my Pampered Chef blender is the sucker cleans itself, which is my favorite thing. I wish everything in my house cleaned itself, kind of like the humans that are here right now. It'd be lovely if they could do that. Okay, so I'm just draining the water from the dates. And I am just throwing them into the blender. So 3/4 of a cup of dates, and I had just warmed up some water and I had put them in there. We are going to take okay, hang on, I gotta get my computer because this recipe did not print out properly. All right, so I just Googled, again, what I can do with some old bananas, because my standards are to go and make a banana bread or some banana muffins, which I will do this afternoon as well because I have so many bananas. But again, I wanted to do something different and unique, something that we could share together, and something that's not too high in sugar either, which I think is great. So we've got the drained dates. We're gonna give the flax a minute. I'm using a natural peanut butter. Okay, so I just have the craft version of the natural peanut butter, and I am going to need 1/4 of a cup. So again, I'm going to use my measure-all cup because I don't like to get anything sticky on my hands. So I'm just going to measure out the 1/4 of a cup. I'm just going to push it right down to the 1/4 cup mark. I'm going to take one of my mix and stirs, and I'm just going to get the peanut butter. Now I did stir it up. This recipe calls for an unsalted, unsweetened, so any natural peanut butter that you've got. Now, if you don't have a natural peanut butter, almond butter works remarkable. And even if you don't have any of the naturals, you could use regular peanut butter. And I would just say lower the sugar a tiny bit. There's not a lot of sugar in this, and you'll notice as we go along that you will find that there's not a lot of sugar in this either. Okay? Okay, so I've got the 1/4 of a cup of peanut butter and the dates, and I need some vanilla, which of course I've forgotten to take out. And I'm going to use my Pampered Chef Madagascar vanilla. So it calls for a teaspoon, which to me only needs a 1/2 teaspoon because ours is double strength. So I just do a 1/2 teaspoon of our vanilla. And I need some mashed bananas. Now, the mashed bananas, I need a 1/2 cup. And I am going to use what I already have mashed up here. And again, I'm going to use another measure-all cup and bring it right to the 1/2 cup mark. There we go. It is 1/2 cup, right? Yes, 1/2 cup. So not a lot of bananas, not a lot of peanut butter. And it says it's going to make 16 brownies, which is really, really cool. I am really looking forward to it. So because these bananas have been sitting in the freezer, they've got a little extra moisture in them. And again, I'm just going to add that. Pour in the bananas. Lots of bananas left for muffins and banana breads, folks. And I'm going to add milk. So it's asking for a milk alternative. So I have added a 1/2 cup of almond milk. It's unsweetened. So whether you have a coconut milk, whether you have cashew, whatever you have in the house. And again, if you don't have all these ingredients, use regular milk. Use regular peanut butter. Then it wouldn't be vegan, and that's okay. If your family isn't vegan, this is still a really great recipe that I think that you could use. And again, making the alternative recipe alterations, you know I do that each and every week as well, and I absolutely love it. But this sounds to me like a really delicious moist brownie, which I'm excited to try. Okay, so I'm just gonna give the flax a little stir. We're gonna add the flax mixture. So you can see here, it kind of gets a little thick, and that's our egg, essentially. I'm gonna pour that in there, and then I'm just gonna blend that all together. Okay, so I'm just gonna take and put it on the base. So I'm going to leave that for a minute, and that's the base, the liquid base of ours. So now in a large bowl, so I brought out all my bowls. You know how much I love my stainless steel because it has the non-slip grip. Again, I've got so many bananas, so there's going to be some muffins happening today. But for this recipe today, I'm going to be using our new bowl that came out in the spring line. It too has the non-slip grip, which I love. You know from being here often, I'm a bit of a messy baker. So I like anything that's not gonna add any extra chaos to my kitchen because I create my own chaos. So I love my bowl, and I am going to add the next 5 ingredients. So 1 cup of rolled oats that have been ground. So I actually just use an oat flour. Actually, there's 2 different ways you can get oat flour, or 2 different ways that I love to get oat flour. First one is at the bulk barn. I always buy oat flour. It's actually what I use to make most of my muffins. I just make them gluten-free just because I like it and I love the sweetness that this flour gives, and it doesn't hurt my stomach. And Robin Hood has come out as well with an oat flour. No, sorry, not Robin Hood, Quaker. Quaker has come out with a bag of oat flour, which is in the same size, this big, in the same size as you would get their Quaker muffins in that kind of package. They have an oat flour as well, and it's amazing. Now, if you don't have any oat flour in your house, this is a great way where you just take a cup of oats and you grind them up, and you make your own oat flour. So because I already have it in my house, that's what I do, but I'll have to tell you, in our blender from Pampered Chef, this is such a powerful machine that it can make powdered sugar from granulated sugar. It can grind up ice to make mommy drinks. It does a heat section where I can make soups and everything from raw state. The blade is amazing, and like I said, my favorite part is that it cleans itself. It's amazing. Okay, so I've just added my flour there. And I need 1/3 of a cup of unsweetened cocoa, okay? So I need, what did I say, 1/3 of a cup? 1/3 of a cup, okay? 1/3 of a cup of unsweetened cocoa. And this is my Easy Read measuring cup. Just add that. And then I need 2 tablespoons of sugar. So again, not a lot of sugar is needed in this recipe, which I love. And again, if you are using a regular peanut butter instead of the natural, this is where, if you would like, you could omit some of this sugar, maybe cut it in half, and instead of 2 tablespoons, you would do 1, because the peanut butter already naturally has some sugar in it. And again, anything that you want to do to cut out the sugar or even sweeten it a little bit more, you can. But the bananas and the dates are gonna give it that amazing sweetness for sure. I need 1½ teaspoons of baking powder, which I forgot to take out. Hold please. Baking powder. I took out the salt, which we need. So 1½ teaspoons of the baking powder. And I'm just adding all of this to the dry. And I believe I need the salt. And I need half a teaspoon of salt. Okay? And that's it. So we've got our dry ingredients. Just gonna give that a little stir. Mix all that up. Really simple. the date mixture. See there how well blended that is. I'm going to use the same mixer here because it's already got peanut butter in it. Now again, if you've got somebody with an allergy to peanuts, we were having this conversation today, I would suggest the nut alternative butter, so any of the nut alternative butters would work. And again, if you don't have the natural peanut butter, use regular peanut butter. If you don't have oat flour, you can grind to make your own oats. And even if worse came to worse and you wanted to use regular white flour, that would be fine as well. Even a whole wheat flour actually wouldn't be too bad, because once you add the sweetness of the bananas and the dates, it's going to be amazing. So just adding the last of that, and then just for good measure, I am also going to add some of our kale and fiber. Okay, so Pampered Chef has some great pantry items, and the kale and fiber, it is green. I'm going to show you. It is green because it is kale and fiber all ground out, but you're not going to actually taste it in here. So I'm just going to add 2 teaspoons, and then it gives it a little added goodness to it. No one even knows. And I'm just going to stir it up. It is, no one's even going to know the difference. All right. And I am going to add, oh, see what I said about being a messy baker? Good thing I just cleaned my counter before we started. All right, so I'm just gonna give this a good stir. It smells great because you can smell the peanut butter, the cocoa, really simple ingredients, and you cannot tell that there's kale and fiber in that. Not at all. We are gonna cook this in a 350-degree oven, and we're also going to, once it's done and cooled, they will be a little bit springy. So if you let them cool completely before taking them out of the pan, they will get to the consistency that we need. The other thing is we can top them with a ripe banana, and we are going to sprinkle the top with some powdered sugar at the end. And again, if you're trying to watch your weight, which with these, I don't even think you really need to. There's not a lot of flour, there's not a lot of sugar. Adding that little bit of powdered sugar is gonna be amazing. So I'm just gonna take the brownie pan, and I am using my kitchen spritzer. Now this is my old one. I have 3 of them in the house. I keep them with extra virgin olive oil, coconut oil, and just a regular vegetable oil. And what's great about this is that I am not getting any chemicals whatsoever in my kitchen, and I'm just giving that just a little bit of spray. I do find anything that is gluten-free, it has a tendency to stick to any of our pans. So giving things a little added spray doesn't hurt, but just so you know, our pans are non-stick. I am just using my cookie. This is the large cookie press. And I am just filling the wells of the brownie pan. And then I'm gonna cook this at 350 for, I believe it's a half of an hour. Let me check. And let's give that a good shake. Look at that, amazing. So I have the oven set at 350. I'm going to cook it for 25 minutes, and then it suggests that we cool it on a rack for a half of an hour before we take them out. And then I'm going to sprinkle them with a little powdered sugar and slice a banana on top. So today's recipe, today's video, it's a bit short. It's about bananas. I've got a bunch, so throughout the next couple days, I'm going to be posting a lot about some recipes for banana muffins, some recipes for banana bread, obviously this recipe, which I love. I would love to share with me what you do with your bananas. There's so many times where I have them in the freezer and I'll make pancakes, and like I said, we tend to go to the go-tos with the banana bread and the muffins. What else can we do with our bananas? I would love to hear. I would love to hear what you're doing today or this week, and also with your bananas. So I'm Aimee Talbot. I'm so glad that you're here, and thank you for a beautiful day. You can see here the sun is out. It's amazing. I just want to let everybody know as well, I've got some great things happening over on the VIPs. If you're not part of the VIP page, hit me up, let me know. I would love to have you over there. And we're having some fun times there. So thanks again for coming, and have a great Wednesday, everybody.